Hello and welcome to another T.E.Q tactics video. In this one we're going to be talking about what tech is, how you can beat it and how you can win with tech. Yes, so we're going to be talking about tech, which is a Terminator equivalent. So it's anything that's like a Terminator. It can be broadly termed, so you can get Mega Knobs in there, that's dead to observe. You can get obviously many flavours of Space Marine. I won't even go through all of them, but like Deathwing Knights, things like that, that's a slightly different variation. You've got the Adeptus Custodes, that's the one I was looking for. You've got things like Obliterators, Chaos Terminators, you know, the list does go on a little bit. I couldn't think of them all right this second, however, I did also say I was going to tell you how you guys can win. So, the main component in the Terminator toolkit is the 2+ save. Because we play with a dice-based game, obviously, we use the D6, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 chances on each dice to get a number. So obviously, we're aiming for a 2+. So that is pretty decent. So only 1/6 of the time you're going to, or you should fail. Now, obviously, it's a random number. You can't, rely on the numbers consistently all the time. But most of the time, you know, so basically, sometimes you'll get a game where your Terminators never make a save, but that doesn't happen very often. And then you'll get some games where they never fail one either. So obviously that's the random chance. Over a long period of games, you should see them fail 1/6 of the time, which is pretty decent. That's assuming there's no negative modifiers or anything such like that. So my advice with that is go up against models with worse save or possibly low number of attacks. So you could be in hot water if you land just, well, not quite the charge distance for a squad of Orc boys, Slugger Chopper boys. One moment. Sorry about that, the microphone slipped, so I've just tried to reposition it. So as I was saying, if you land yourself through a deep strike or somewhere, you're just out of charge range for a squad of Orc boys, they're going to charge you that next turn. You're not going to see much return on them 2+ saves, because if it's a squad of 30 boys, they've got what possibility of, my maths is terrible, but 120 attacks, something crazy like that, which is very, that 1/6 chance isn't going to work. But, so if you go against a squad of tactical Space Marines, a small squad of, Guardsmen, you go against anything that's a standard squad size, even like, we'll say 20, like Genestealer, Genestealer cults, things like that, you're probably going to beat them before they get a chance. So that's where you're going to win. You're going to win by picking on smaller units, and so like side note, this doesn't apply to every Terminator, but the majority of them have some form of Power Fist. So we're mainly talking about Space Marines. My opinion is, if you've got Power Fist, you're going to aim to deep strike near vehicles, big monsters, things like that, that you can use those Power Fists on and just win. Oh, and second side note, I do apologise. I did have one game where it was very fun. I had a squad of 30 boys, or somewhere close to that, it might have been 25, but a decent amount of boys. And I was going up against James, and he deep struck his Terminators within just beyond 9 inches. He rapid fired his Storm Bolters and his Assault Cannon, and he got rid of a fair amount of boys, a good half if not more. Ran in, attacked, wiped most of the other half out, and then morale did the rest. So they cleaned up a good 20 odd boys in one round. So that's one way to win. Stormbolt has then a charge, which is pretty decent. Yeah. So that's how you can win with Terminator equivalent. So here we're going to tell you how you can beat the Terminator equivalent. So Terminator equivalents, they are, as we've said, their main toolkit is their 2+ save, or the main thing of it. If you are running anything that has a minus, we'll say 2, 3. 3's best. If you can get better than that, awesome. If you've got anything that's gone a couple of shots there, -3, you're going to remove what makes the Terminator special. So you're going to, well, we'll argue 3. So minus AP 3, you're going to take it down to a 5-up save. So unless they're getting storm shields, they're not going to be getting a better save anyway, even with their invulnerable save. So you can fire as many of these -3 AP shots and they will fail. So another way is obviously, in addition to the minus AP of 3, you can obviously use the volume of dice. Now this does go into shooting and into combat, so you can use either one and it will work exactly the same. Principally here, what you're able to do is take advantage of the D6 system. So a 2-up save fails 1/6 of the time. If you make that Terminator make 6 saves, he'll fail 1, or he should. So if you make him fail, roll 12 dice, he's probably dead. Probably. So, so obviously we've used Hawk Boys, we'll use them again. If you run at them with Hawk Boys, a shed ton of attacks, they can only make so many armor saves once they've got round through the hitting and the wounding. So that's one way. Another way is dependent on the playstyle of your enemy. So if they're on the board already or they've made it onto the board, you can outrun them. So sure, yes, they can advance. They can advance to possible between 6 and 11 inches. Am I wrong? Am I right? Basically, they normally move 5 inches, and most other people can run faster than them. All you have to do is evade them, like the plague, and that's how you'll beat a Terminator equivalent. So if you've liked this video, pop one of these bad boys. If you didn't, one of them. That's cool. Comments down below, and let me know what you think of this video.